How to make sure every haircut that you get actually looks good. And if you're watching this video, you're probably thinking, why should I listen to this guy? Well, I have one of the top selling hair care brands on Amazon. I've been featured in GQ magazine, the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, and countless different newspapers all about my hair. I work with different hair salons using my hair products. Most of my success in life has come from my hair in some different way. So over the years, I honestly know so much about this topic, and this video is going to basically help you understand exactly what you need to know. So the first thing I want to talk about that not many people mention is the fact that every single person's head of hair is completely different. Now, what this means is, yes, there are people with straight hair, wavy hair, curly hair, but just because you have a specific hair type does not mean it's going to look like somebody else's. If you see one guy with straight hair, it's going to look completely different than somebody else with straight hair, and then the next guy's going to look different from you. So you can't treat every hairstyle based on your hair type. Now, what I do highly recommend doing is actually finding out the way that your hair grows. For example, people might have cowlicks in different areas in their head, maybe on the side, the front of their head, and everything like this. I grew up with this Justin Bieber haircut. It was always swooped to the side. I would always be doing this like all day, every day. And I thought it was because, oh, I picked that hairstyle, but no, that hairstyle picked me. What I mean by that is like, I literally just have hair that grows in that pattern of like having the swoop. So it was always easiest to do that. Then later down the line on TikTok, I started seeing hairstyles that swoop up in the front and they have that flow. And I tried doing it, but I realized my hair does not grow straight. It grows with a swoop. So now I'm better off with styles like this where I actually style it for the hair that I have on my head. So what I recommend you do, and I'm very serious about this, like you should definitely try it. Go in the mirror and figure out like things about your hair, like literally study your hair and just figure out what looks good about it, what looks bad about it, what do you like versus not, and try different styles. Like another example, the way that my hair grows, I cannot middle part it to save my life. It does not work. I have a natural part on like this 70% marker of my head. So it literally, if I try a middle part, it fails every time. Next is using the right hair products for the length of your hair. Just for example, when my hair was shorter, I was using sea salt spray a lot more because it gives you that like sort of messy, ruffled up look, and I really like that. But the thing is, my hair is so long now, it's actually a lot longer than you can see on camera, and I just don't really want to have that messy look as much. So I really started using hair clay as my go-to option. But as soon as I get my next haircut, I'm going to go back to the sea salt spray. And by the way, you can check us out on Amazon, just Simpletics. Like I said, we're one of the best sellers. The reason that we do so well is because we use such few ingredients in our products and we keep it all natural. So this is like 5 ingredients when the average sea salt spray has like 20 to 30. It smells like bleach, all that. You're not going to get that with Simpletics. Now, moving on to the haircut itself, one mistake that I see so often is people getting a haircut that is not really gonna last them any time whatsoever. When you go to the barber, it's one thing to get a haircut that looks good, but you got to think like, what is this haircut gonna look like in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? How often do I want to pay for a haircut? Is it too expensive? Because I remember getting this haircut once. It was like a fade on the side of my head and it looked really good in the moment, but as soon as I left, like literally like days after, I saw that it just did not look right, and I knew that I would have to keep getting fades over and over, which would cost me like $50 every time. And then I thought, like, is it even worth getting a fade on the sides when I can just like pay less, not have to take the time to go to the barber, like basically just have a hairstyle that actually lasts? After thinking it through, I was like, yeah, it's a no-brainer. Might as well just get a haircut that looks equally as good, but is way easier to take care of. The third tip that I want to go over is actually finding your ideal haircut and the place to go to get it. So when it comes to picking where you want to get your haircut, there's a few things I recommend really thinking about. Number one, do you want short or long hair? Because if you want short hair, you want to go to an actual barber shop. This is a little hack for you guys, but literally like look up on Instagram in your search bar, like barbers near me, and you'll find pictures of their clients so you know exactly what you're getting into. And if you think about it, it's going to go a lot better if you show a barber a picture of a haircut that they actually did, because they'll be able to replicate that pretty easy. Then if you want to go get that same haircut, but you show somebody at like Sports Clips, Great Clips, any of those chain barbershops, they're going to be like, I don't know what this is, I'm going to try. And then that's when you get ruined, walk out in tears, your haircut looks horrible. On the other hand, you have salons. And salons, when you think about it, they're known for cutting girls' hair, but they don't only cut girls' hair. They're just good at cutting longer hairstyles usually. So me, I go to a salon anytime I get a haircut. There's also this salon called Studio D in Brickell, Miami, where I live, where I sell my products. And they give me way better haircuts than any barber would do. Then if you just want to get the quickest, cheapest option, you could go to a chain barber, but do keep in mind they don't usually do advanced things. They're not great at giving fades most of the time or cutting long hair, scissor work. They're just going to be subpar. Now, if you're fine with that, that's where you can go. But if you want an elevated hairstyle, I would choose a local barbershop usually, or a salon. Or if you get lucky going to one of those chain barbers, you can find one who cuts your hair very nicely, and then you stick with that person and they cut your hair every time. Now back on the styling products, this is something that I cannot talk about enough. It's actually knowing how to use them the right way. For example, when I'm walking around the street and followers come up to me, I always try to keep my product somewhere near just so I can give it to them whenever. So often I'll give them the hair product and then they try to use it and they just use it completely wrong. They have no idea how to do it. They just completely obliterate it. They waste a ton of product. Like, knowing how to use your hair product is going to be so helpful. Which, I mean, for that, you could just like look up some videos on TikTok, YouTube, whatever. I make a ton of videos about it, so you can find those as well. Like, just for example, with sea salt spray, something that so many people I feel like just have no idea about is this is better to use on damp hair because it spreads more evenly. It's best to scrunch your hair after using it if you want to get a more like curly, like wavy look. But if you want a more straight wavy look, you want to brush your hair. Really, depending on the look that you're going for, you do different things. And another thing for like texture powder, if your hair gets past a certain length, let's say it's very long, you might not want to use this anymore until you get another haircut, because this type of product works by making your hair stick together. So you might not want your hair to stick together when it gets really long. And then also just overall understanding the hair product that you're using. So for example, if you've used the sea salt spray, it's going to work completely different than my sea salt spray because they're made completely differently. So each brand is going to have their own unique things about our hair products, and it's really figuring out which one you like most. See, personally, I used to use other brands, but I'm just not comfortable with the fact that they're allowed to use horrible ingredients. Like, guys, there's literally people who are allowed to use ingredients that are banned in countries like Europe and stuff in their hair products, which to me is just insane, but it's like still illegal. And you probably have some like in your house currently. Ingredients that disrupt your hormones, cause hair shed, like literally make your hair fall out, like things like that. I would never put in my hair ever again. Now for a topic that I don't see anybody talk about it, and when I say nobody, I'm saying I don't see videos on this whatsoever, so I'm so glad that I can present this to you and help you understand. Your hair will change throughout the course of your life. The texture, the pattern, the thickness, everything will change, and this is most apparent through teenagers going through puberty. For example, my hair went from really thin, fine, straight hair to really thick, straight hair, and then obviously now I have a perm, but it just completely changed within the matter of a few years. And if you don't notice this change and you're not looking for it, you'll treat your hair the exact same and you just won't like the way it looks or feels and everything like that. So if you're still a teenager right now, be ready for your hair to change if it hasn't already changed, because I see people who think that their hair is wavy when in reality it's curly. So they're walking around with like a frizzy mess on top of their head when they should have just started developing a curly hair routine. And that's going to move me on to the next thing, developing your hair care routine. Just to shoot out some quick tips for you guys, people with straight hair usually deal with grease and oil in their hair, which makes it look very greasy. People with wavy hair might have some level of frizz, so adding some moisture might help you. Then people with curly hair have like usually extremely dry hair, extreme frizz, so you really want to start using those like moisturizing products. The worst thing that you can do is go to your mom or go to your parents, and no hate to your parents, like let them do what they want, but if you have like an all-in-one shampoo and conditioner, everything, it could be literally frying your hair, and your parents are like just trying to do what's best for you, but they don't know that like there's certain shampoos, conditioners that you should be using for your hair type. Now the most important tip of all, I will never stress this enough, it's choosing a haircut that makes you look good, not getting just a good haircut in general. So right now I could walk in the barber shop and get a low taper fade, and yes, the hairstyle or the haircut itself might look good, but if I have really chubby cheeks and like massive ears or something like that I don't want to really show, the haircut looking good might make me more insecure and actually hate it. I like having my hair grown out because I just feel like it frames my face better, and I've always had like somewhat chubby cheeks, so it kind of makes it look less chubby. So it's not always a great thing to just follow all the trends and everything like that. Like, get a haircut that makes you the most confident, that makes you look the best, and that's what's going to do best for you, of course.